Hey, thanks for tuning in. You're watching Bourbon Battles. My name's Joe. It's been a fun, awesome, and crazy weekend down in Franklin, Indiana. Hey, stay tuned to hear all the details about that. Thanks for joining us, guys. If you're from Central Indiana and you weren't in Franklin this weekend, you really missed out. Friday was Raising Spirits. We're going to get into everything Raising Spirits here in just a few minutes. Saturday was Porchtoberfest. What an amazing time. If you've never been to Porchtober in Franklin, Indiana, you're really missing out. And today, Sunday, well, I'm getting ready to go out with our little whiskey group, and we're going to build a wheelchair ramp for somebody that needs that. We're going to do that through Saul's. If you're interested in learning more about how to build a wheelchair ramp where you're at for somebody in need, please reach out to me or check out the website right there from Saul's. What an amazing organization that is. So Friday night, down at the Garment Factory in Franklin, Indiana, the best bourbon event that I've ever been to. I've been for a few years now. It's absolutely amazing. And we're going to tell you a little bit about that and how we came to be involved in that and all those things. This is coffee because we're getting ready to go use power tools. So Raising Spirits last year raised over $200,000 for 5 special charities in Johnson County, Indiana. And they do that with bourbon in essence, right? Live auctions, silent auctions, sponsors, and all those things. So Todd and Abby that run that are good friends of mine. And Bourbon Battles had the opportunity this year. We were an official event sponsor, and I had a table there, right? Bonnet and Bottle Bourbon Club that I'm a part of, official event sponsor, guys. If you're in those clubs or you're in the contests that we do and all those things, that's how we did all this, right? So we were able to do 2 sponsorships. We did a lot of in-kind bottles. The basket we sent in, buku bucks. Big thanks to Nick. Those coasters you brought me, put that basket over the top was one of the favorite things that people bid on. It was amazing. So, and then my good friend Kathy, her and I are going to host a bourbon event for 6 people that actually sold multiple times, and that raised buku bucks. Big bourbon dinner paired with food and wine pairings and cocktails and a super premium flight. That was big fun. So Kathy and I are going to do that in my home along with our wives, and it's going to be an amazing time. Can't wait for that. Congratulations to the winners of that. Looking forward to figuring out how we're going to do that. So if you stop by my table, the Bourbon Battles table at the event, I don't have the bottles to show you what they look like because we ended up giving them away, but there was 2 bottles labeled 1 and 2, right? If you know me, you know how much I love to do blind battles, right? So this is one of my favorite blind battles I ever do. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very surprised at the results. The whiskey that I thought would win didn't end up winning. I'm sorry, it did win, but not by the margin that I thought it would. So of course, my job is to show you, there's some whiskeys that are hard to get. There's some whiskeys that are easy to get, and that really doesn't have a lot to do with quality and how good they are. So I try to trick you up a little bit. So for everybody that was there, first things first, we're going to give away a couple bottles of whiskey. We're going to give away these 2 bottles right here. I probably told you about that at the event if you were there. All you have to do on this video, no matter where you see it, whether it be Facebook or YouTube, comment, hey, I was there and this is the bottle I picked. If you weren't there, I still want you to comment and tell me what you think you would pick, and go back and try it yourself if you have these bottles, right? So, the moment that everybody's been waiting for. What were the 2 bottles? Well, one of them was this bad boy right here, Blanton's. This has the W letter on it. Nope, I can't see. Blanton's, right? So we take this, has a value, we can talk about retail, and I think retail's up to $69.99 or whatever it is now. But these go for routinely, they're $100, right? If you want a bottle of Blanton's and you want to spend $100, they're really easy to find. And people are sometimes surprised when I give my opinion of Blanton's. And I'll give you some tasting opinions here in a second. But for somebody that's getting into bourbon, right? Or somebody that, you're getting over that 10 to 20 bottle range, right? You're starting to get some bourbons. You like to share it with your friends, which is immensely important. This needs to be on your shelf for that $100 mark. As I look around this room, there's a lot of whiskey in here, and I'll tell you, there is hundreds and hundreds of bottles in here. In fact, there's probably, we'll just leave it at that. that are better than this for less money. But this needs to be on your shelf. And why, you ask? Because if you come to somebody that's has never had this, somebody comes over to your house that's never had this, what a treat it is for them. And it gives you a chance to talk about bourbon. You know, Blanton's was the first single barrel. You can talk about the secondary market and what it's done to the industry. You can talk about proofs, right? This is a lower proof at 93 proof. There's so much you can do with this bottle, and you can really treat somebody. You know, these go for up to $40 a pour in a bar, right? So if you can treat somebody to this, what a special thing to do. That's why I love having this bottle so much. This will always, always be a bottle I have on my shelf. Somebody was just here the other day that said, oh my gosh, you have Blanton's, I'm dying to try it. So they got to try it. Of course, I followed it up with something that I thought was better for a better value. What did I follow it up with? The other bottle that was in our contest was Evan Williams Bottled in Bond. So we talked about price over there, right? $100, $15. I saw half gallons of this for $30 the other day. These might be $18, depending on where you go. I don't think they're ever going to be more than 20. Bottled in Bond, that's 100 proof. So again, something you can talk to your guests about if you choose to follow that with this. These are both traditional Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys, in my opinion. Traditional being traditional flavors, right? And one thing that I will say, I don't know where I heard this, but I like to repeat it. You know, if you don't like Blanton's, you don't like bourbon. It tastes like bourbon. Is there better bourbon? Absolutely. Does this have less flavor than a lot? Yes, it's got a lot to do with that proof point, right? So don't get hung up on that. This, in my opinion, is much more complex. It does have a little bit more proof at 100 proof. I prefer that Heaven Hill, who makes this, taste profile, for the price. It can't be beat, guys. This is amazing whiskey. Blanton's is amazing whiskey. Let's be realistic. But I'm going to tell you how the voting went in just a second. For those of you that picked number 2, those of you that picked number 1 but thought they were both good, I encourage you to try this again. So one of the things I think we would find is if we did this exact same blind in a different setting, right? A lot of you came from right next door to me from your grandpa's Old Fashioned. By the way, if you tried your grandpa's Old Fashioned and you didn't like it, you don't like Old Fashions. That stuff is absolutely amazing. You got to try that. Go to their website. You see it right there. Use discount code Bourbon Battles, one word. They're going to give you 20% off, guys. It doesn't get any better than that, and you're going to get free shipping in the whole 9 yards. But just make sure you order it off their website. That helps them out tremendously. Can't say enough nice things about these guys, and I love that Old Fashioned. So I'm going to do an episode here soon on ready to drink Old Fashions, right? Penelope's coming out with them. Penelope has a few, the black walnut, the peach. Kirkland actually has a really good one over there at Costco. There's dozens and dozens of them in the market. And I really like some of these. So I'm going to do a little contest. Your grandpa's Old Fashioned is going to be in that mix, guys. And I can't imagine they won't win. Their bread pudding Old Fashioned is absolutely amazing, guys. If you ever talk to those guys, make sure you tell them Joe from Bourbon Battle says hi. Make sure you use that discount code. That helps us, that helps them, that helps everybody, and it helps your pocketbook. Guys, that stuff is amazing, amazing, amazing. Stay tuned. I think you're going to see that in some restaurants around pretty soon. So, but where I was going with all that was if you tried your grandpa's Old Fashioned and came right next door to my booth and tried, but you would have had number 1 first, most likely. Some people ask for number 2 first, but not many. You would have still had the sweetness from that Old Fashioned. That would have skewed what you were tasting, in my mind. Maybe it works that way. Maybe it doesn't, but in my mind it does. Therefore, I'm going to say I think in a different setting, Blanton's would get less votes. Maybe not. What I did hear over and over again is it's much smoother. And it is. It's a very smooth whiskey. So if your whiskey room doesn't look like this, you don't drink whiskey all that often, I absolutely understand where you're going to like that. And shoot me a message, and I can suggest some other things for you to try that I think you might like that are, along those lines. So keep that in mind. Love to talk to you about that. Now, we'll just start with this. The winner, got the most votes, was the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. But it was very, very, very close. 66 votes for the Evan Williams. 47 votes for the Blantons. Guys, I would have thought it would have been 3 or 4 to 1. It wasn't. Hey, that's what bourbon is, right, guys? And it'd be different next time possibly, but what a great time. Thank you to Todd and Abby and everybody. I think they're going to raise close to $300,000 at that event that we just went to. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a small part of that, guys. Absolutely great time. Next year, hey, highly, highly recommend. If you're from out of town, get on an airplane, get in your car, do whatever you got to do. Come to Franklin, Indiana for the weekend. Friday night, go to Raising Spirits. Go to the Porchtobers on Saturday. Make a weekend out of it. And if enough of you are in town, we want to do it again, we'll build another ramp, and you're welcome to join us for that. Guys, come check out our little town. There's things like this going on all the time. People like Todd and Abby at Raising Shucks. Can't say enough about it. Again, thank you. I want to remind you, drinking bourbon's fun. Do it with your friends. Do it responsibly. But whatever you do, don't drink and drive. Cheers.
You drink, don't drive, do the watermelon crawl.